You have been carrying a weight that doesn't have a name, a pressure that exists in the silence between your heartbeats. It is the kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix because it isn't your body that is tired, it is your soul. You have walked through rooms full of people and felt completely alone, holding a smile together like a shield while the internal war raged on. You have been the strong one for everyone else, the pillar that others lean on, the one who listens when everyone else is shouting. But in the quiet hours of the night, when the world stops demanding things from you, you have asked the darkness if anyone sees the cost of your strength. You have wondered if the endurance you've shown is a gift or a prison. You stayed human when it would have been easier to become a machine. You kept your heart soft in a world that rewarded the cold. God said, I have seen every moment you reached your limit and decided to keep going anyway. Hear this, the season of being the nameless foundation for everyone else's building is coming to a close. This is your confirmation that the silent burden you have carried was never meant to break you, but to build a capacity within you that the average person could never sustain. Now I am shifting the atmosphere around your life. You carried the expectations of a family that didn't always understand your path. You stayed quiet when you were being misunderstood, refusing to defend yourself to people who were committed to misjudging you. There is a specific kind of integrity in the one who can hold the truth without needing to scream it. You didn't become bitter even when you had every right to be. You didn't turn into the very thing that hurt you. You stayed aligned with a version of yourself that remains honorable even under the crushing weight of hidden grief. You remained human under pressure. Stay with me. The pressure didn't just come from the outside. It came from the internal standard you set for yourself. You felt the silent pressure to succeed, to provide, to overcome the patterns that broke the generations before you. You felt the eyes of those who came before you and those who will come after you, all resting on your shoulders. It felt like you were walking a tightrope over a canyon with no safety net, and every step was a battle against the gravity of your own doubts. You didn't abandon who you were when the fire got hot. You didn't trade your soul for a temporary escape. God said, I am the one who held the net you couldn't see. Hear this, the cycle of generational struggle ends with your obedience. This is your confirmation that the bloodline is being cleansed through your endurance. Now I am releasing the resources that were held back by the resistance of your past. You moved from the burden of your family to the isolation of your career and your calling. You found yourself in spaces where you were overqualified but overlooked, where you had the vision but lacked the platform. You watched others take shortcuts and receive the applause while you took the long way, the hard way, the honest way. You sat in meetings and felt like an alien, knowing that your integrity was costing you the immediate win, but securing an eternal weight of glory. You stayed aligned when breaking was easier. You didn't become bitter when the reward was delayed. Before we go deeper, do one simple thing. Comment 711 to seal this word over your life. Then add one word that describes your pressure right now. Tired, waiting, betrayed, ready. After you post it, take 3 seconds and reply, I agree to one other 777 comment. Don't watch alone. God said, I have been the witness to every door that was closed in your face to protect you from rooms that would have swallowed your purpose. Hear this, I am opening a door you didn't even apply for. This is your confirmation that your no to compromise has become a yes to my favor. Now I am positioning you at the head and not the tail. The grief you carried wasn't always for a person. Sometimes it was for the versions of your life that never came to be. You grieved the timelines that didn't pan out, the dreams that seemed to dry up like raisins in the sun, and the people who promised to stay but vanished when the clouds turned gray. You carried that silent grief into every new day, a dull ache in the background of your productivity. Yet you kept standing. You didn't let the disappointment turn into a permanent wall between you and the world. You remained human under pressure. God said, "I am the restorer of the years the locusts have eaten." Hear this: nothing you lost in my name was truly lost. It was merely traded for something that cannot be shaken. This is your confirmation that your mourning is being turned into a dance of strategic victory. Now I am bringing back the joy of your salvation with interest. Type Amen if this is your confirmation that the delay is over. You found yourself in a mental warfare that no one else could see. The enemy tried to use delay as a weapon, whispering that you were forgotten, that your prayers were hitting a ceiling of brass, and that the God you serve had turned his back on your specific situation. The voices of self-doubt tried to rename you, calling you failure, rejected, or late. But even in the fog of that mental war, you held on to the hem of the garment. You didn't give up on the promise even when the promise felt like a ghost. You stayed aligned when the noise was the loudest. God said, "The enemy is a liar and the father of lies." Hear this: I have never been closer to you than in the moments you felt most abandoned. This is your confirmation that the mental fog is clearing right now. Now I am giving you the spirit of a sound mind and the clarity of a king. You began to realize that the pressure wasn't meant to crush you, but to refine you. Like a diamond formed in the deep places of the earth, you were being subjected to a specific kind of heat and weight that was necessary to change your very structure. The old you wouldn't have been able to handle the weight of the new assignment. The version of you that started this journey wouldn't have had the character to sustain the level of influence that is coming. You were being forged in the dark so you could shine in the light. You kept standing through the process. God said, "I am the refiner's fire and the fuller's soap." Hear this: the impurities of people-pleasing and fear are being burned away. This is your confirmation that you are coming out as pure gold. Now I am calling you forward into the arena you were prepared for. You moved from betrayal to the realization that the betrayal was actually a divine subtraction. You looked at the people who walked away, the friends who couldn't handle your growth, the partners who didn't value your worth, the mentors who became rivals, and you realized that their exit was the answer to a prayer you hadn't even prayed yet. You were being protected from the poison of people who loved the version of you that was small but hated the version of you that was becoming great. You didn't become cruel to them, you stayed human. God said, "I am the one who removed the scales from your eyes." Hear this: do not look back at the people I pushed out of your life. This is your confirmation that their departure was my mercy in disguise. Now I am surrounding you with a tribe of iron that will sharpen your destiny. The awareness started to settle in your bones. You realized that endurance is not a passive waiting, but an active standing. You realized that you weren't stuck in a waiting room. You were hidden in a war room. The silence wasn't God's absence, it was God's focus. You began to see the patterns in the delay, the way you were being taught to rely on an inner source rather than an external supply. You stopped looking for validation from the very people who were intimidated by your calling. You didn't abandon your post. God said, "I am the God of the secret place." Hear this: what I have whispered to you in the dark, you will soon proclaim in the light of day. This is your confirmation that your season of hiddenness is concluding. Now I am making your name a household word in the places that matter. You moved from loneliness to the understanding that your solitude was a sanctuary. You stopped trying to fill the gaps in your life with noise and started filling them with presence. You found a quiet strength that doesn't need to dominate the room to be the most powerful thing in it. You realize that true power is not just what you hold, but what you can release without fear. You began to understand that strength isn't only endurance, it's allowing what is good to move through you without trying to grab it and claim it as your own. You stayed aligned when the world was shaking. God said, "I am the source of every good and perfect gift. Hear this, I am teaching you to be a conduit, not a container. This is your confirmation that as you let my grace flow through you, the supply will never run dry. Now I am increasing your capacity to handle the abundance of the kingdom. You didn't break. When the waves were crashing and the wind was howling, you dug your heels into the rock. You didn't turn cruel when the world was cold to you. You didn't become a cynic when you were surrounded by lies. That is why this shift is real. That is why you are standing here today, ready for the next dimension. Your integrity is the currency of the new season. Your heart is the ground where the miracle will grow. You have been a guardian of the light in your own life, often without knowing it. This channel, this space where we meet, is also a sanctuary for weary souls like yours. Those who need to hear that they aren't crazy, that they aren't forgotten, and that the weight they carry has a purpose. If this message is speaking to your exact season, consider this your divine appointment. Stay with me. There is a specific kind of tiredness that comes from being responsible for outcomes you cannot control. You have been wearing a calm face while your inner world carried a storm. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. You kept standing when folding would have felt like relief. God said, "I have been counting the hidden costs, not to punish you, but to repay you with peace." Hear this, I am closing the door on the season that required you to suffer in silence. So if you feel that pressure in your chest, do not treat it like a diagnosis of failure. Treat it like a signal that the old cycle has reached its end. This is the pivot. We are moving from the weight in your family to the pressure in your career. You have been the emotional foundation of a house that never asked how heavy the ceiling was. You chose integrity over attention again and again. You remained human when survival tried to rename you. God said, "I am not asking you to carry it alone anymore." Here, this support is being assigned, not requested. God said, "Stop proving your strength to people who only respect what they can extract." Your quiet obedience has already spoken. And as the focus shifts to your career, you will notice something subtle. What used to drain you will no longer be able to reach you. Endurance is not the ability to tolerate pain. Endurance is the decision to stay noble when the environment invites you to become numb. You remained human when survival tried to rename you. You kept standing when folding would have felt like relief. God said your restraint was not weakness, it was authority under control. Hear this, I have been teaching your spirit how to govern itself. You are learning to choose the long path that keeps your soul intact. And that is why what comes next will not corrupt you. This is the pivot. We are moving from the weight in your career to the pressure in your relationships. You have been the quiet engine of systems that pretended you were replaceable. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. You stayed soft in a season designed to harden people. God said, "I am not asking you to carry it alone anymore. Here, this support is being assigned, not requested." God said, "Stop proving your strength to people who only respect what they can extract." Your quiet obedience has already spoken. And as the focus shifts to your relationships, you will notice something subtle. What used to drain you will no longer be able to reach you. Now comes awareness. The moment you realize the pressure was not random, it had a curriculum. You can see patterns now. You can see who only shows up when you are bleeding. You can see which rooms require you to shrink. God said discernment is your upgrade. Hear this, you will no longer confuse familiarity with safety. When you feel that inner no, that quiet resistance, that is not anxiety, that is wisdom. This is the pivot. We are moving from the weight in your relationships to the pressure in your mind. You have outgrown connections that only loved the version of you that could be used. You stayed soft in a season designed to harden people. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am not asking you to carry it alone anymore. Here, this support is being assigned, not requested. God said, stop proving your strength to people who only respect what they can extract. Your quiet obedience has already spoken. And as the focus shifts to your mind, you will notice something subtle. What used to drain you will no longer be able to reach you. Alignment is when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased, it is being repositioned. This is the pivot. We are moving from the weight in your mind to the pressure in your body. You have fought wars in your thoughts that no one applauded and still showed up with grace. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. You did not abandon your values when compromise was cheaper. God said, I am not asking you to carry it alone anymore. Here, this support is being assigned, not requested. God said, stop proving your strength to people who only respect what they can extract. Your quiet obedience has already spoken. And as the focus shifts to your body, you will notice something subtle. What used to drain you will no longer be able to reach you. If this message is speaking to your exact season, consider this your divine appointment. Stay with me. What comes next is for the part of you that has been holding everything together. Now listen. Here is the discernment key most people miss. When your season shifts, some people will try to reconnect not because they love you, but because they can feel the door opening around you. God said, do not confuse a knock with permission. Hear this, not every return is restoration. Some returns are tests. If someone only wants access to the results and never honored the process, you can love them from a distance and still stay aligned. Stay with me because this next part is the turn. This is the moment where the script of your life is being rewritten by the hand of the Almighty. You have moved through the fire and you don't even smell like smoke. Now we enter the realm of the sovereign shift. God said, I am the God of the sudden turnaround. Hear this. The people who mocked your process will soon be forced to acknowledge your promotion. This is your confirmation that I am changing the narrative of your reputation. Now I am causing your enemies to become your footstool. The revelation you need to hear right now is about the shifting of your toxic surroundings. You have been worried that you would have to fight for your place, but the truth is, the atmosphere is becoming so heavy with my presence that those who do not belong in your future will simply find it impossible to stay. You won't have to fire them. They will quit. You won't have to break up with them. They will drift away. There is a discernment key I am placing in your spirit right now. You will begin to smell the motive of a person before they even speak a word. You will see the trap before it is set. God said, I am giving you eyes to see in the spirit. Hear this, trust your gut, for it is the echo of my voice. This is your confirmation that your intuition is being sharpened into a weapon of war. Now I am instructing you to step back from the voices that bring confusion and step toward the silence that brings peace. Transformation is not a loud event. It is a quiet certainty. You are moving into a space where you no longer have to explain yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. You have a calm stability now. You are like a mountain that doesn't move just because the weather changed. You have seen enough to know that the storm is temporary, but the rock is eternal. You stayed human when the pressure tried to turn you into a stone. You stayed soft when the world tried to make you hard. God said, I am the author and the finisher of your faith. Hear this, I am finishing what I started in you back in the dark years. This is your confirmation that no detail of your life has been overlooked. Now I am bringing the pieces of the puzzle together in a way that makes sense of every tear you shed. The transfer of resources is not just about finance. It is about the transfer of influence and the opening of doors that were previously bolted shut. You are moving into a season where support arrives through the right people at the right time. You will find favor in the eyes of those who have the power to say yes to your vision. Unexpected opportunities will arrive by email, by phone, and through casual conversations. You won't have to chase the blessing. The blessing will hunt you down. You remained human under pressure, and now the pressure is turning into a platform. Pause right here. This is the turn. This is where the old season breaks. This channel is a sanctuary for people who are holding on by a thread. If this message is sheltering you today and you want it to reach the next person at the exact right time, Super Thanks is the simplest, quietest way to build this sanctuary without changing the spirit of the word. Not because you have to, only if you feel led. It's also the fastest way to keep this work consistent and ad safe. If you choose it, come back and type done plus your first name so I can thank you and cover you in prayer. Now listen, God said, I am the owner of the cattle on 1,000 hills. Hear this, I am releasing the resources that were withheld into the hands of the faithful. This is your confirmation that your years of lack were a school for the management of my abundance. Now I am making you a distributor of my grace and my goods. You are entering a state of alignment where your internal peace matches your external reality. The war is moving from the inside to the outside, and then it is disappearing altogether. You are becoming a person of sovereignty, someone who knows who they are, because they know whose they are. You have been refined. You have been tested. You have been proven. You didn't abandon your identity when it was inconvenient. You kept standing. God said, I have called you by your name. You are mine. Hear this. The identity the world gave you is being erased, and my name is being written on your forehead. This is your confirmation that you are an ambassador of the kingdom of heaven. Now I am sending you out with the power to bind and to loose. The burden is shifting. The weight that made your shoulders ache is being transferred to the angels who have been assigned to your case. You are learning to walk light. You are learning that you can be effective without being exhausted. You are learning that my yoke is easy and my burden is light. The support you needed is arriving from directions you never looked toward. Support arriving through the right people, favorable timing, and divine provision. You stayed aligned when breaking was easier. God said, I am the Lord, your provider. Hear this, I am sending the ravens to feed you in the wilderness, and I am turning the wilderness into a garden. This is your confirmation that the dry season is over. Now I am pouring out the former and the latter rain on your life simultaneously. Right, I'm still standing. Right, I did not become bitter. Right, I'm ready for alignment. Right, I release what isn't mine to carry. And if you felt seen today, Super Thanks is open below as a way to seal this word and keep this sanctuary growing. Every pivot in your life has led to this. Every heartbreak was a redirection. Every delay was a protection. Every moment of silence was a preparation. You are the chosen one because you chose to stay when others fled. You chose to love when others hated. You chose to believe when others doubted. Now the world will see the result of that choice. The transfer is happening. The doors are opening. The resources are arriving. God said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. Hear this, I have seen the end from the beginning, and your end is greater than your beginning. This is your confirmation that the glory of the latter house shall be greater than the former. Now go forth in the strength of this word, for I am with you always, even unto the end of the age. The pressure is gone. The alignment is here. You are walking into a version of your life that you only used to see in your dreams. But this time, you aren't dreaming. You are awake. You are ready. You are chosen. You kept your heart human, and now your heart is being rewarded with the fullness of the divine. Stay in this peace. Walk in this authority. The shift has already occurred. And this is where transformation begins. The tone changes inside you first before anything changes outside you. True power is not just what you can hold. It is what you can release without fear. God said, let the energy move. Hear this, you are not a container designed to hoard. You are a channel designed to circulate. When your hands open, your spirit stops negotiating with fear. You move from surviving to steering. Alignment is when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors, because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased, it is being repositioned. Alignment is when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. One more thing, seal it again. Comment 777. Again plus sealed plus your city or country. Then write one sentence, what you are believing God for this week. And if you see someone with your same word, reply to them. Don't scroll past family. Your life is not being erased. It is being repositioned. Alignment is what it looks like when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased. It is being repositioned. Alignment is what it feels like when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased. It is being repositioned. Alignment is what it sounds like when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased. It is being repositioned. Alignment is what it becomes when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased, it is being repositioned. Alignment is what it means when your inner world stops arguing with your future. You stop begging for signs and start becoming one. You kept your spirit clean in environments that rewarded corrosion. You remained honest when silence would have been safer. God said, I am giving you calm certainty. Hear this, you will recognize the right doors because you will not have to betray yourself to enter them. Your life is not being erased, it is being repositioned.